My fault there, man. I'm having Wi-Fi problems. I had to move somewhere else.
All good, all good.
So I'll just get into your introduction. So Jordan currently plays at McMaster University. He spent some time. He actually came to the club for the first time in 18U, where they were able to win provincials. He was named OVA All-Star and Silver at nationals. So I guess just to kind of before we get into your university resume, how did you start playing?
Well, my dad, he coached volleyball for Eden High School. He coached the senior boys team. So pretty much from when I was a baby, I would go to all the practices, and my sister and I would just pepper in the hallways, and then eventually played Rapids House League, and then started playing Rapids right away.
Right. And I actually had a question about your dad. How much influence did he have on your volleyball career?
Oh yeah, it's crazy how much he's influenced me. Like he brought me to every single tournament. Like I would leave school, I missed pretty much all Fridays, go to all the boys tournaments, pepper with the guys on the team, pepper with my dad, and actually watching high school volleyball. I remember watching Jesse Sati play Mississauga second when I was young, and
okay, cool.
But
does he still have those videos too?
I'm sure he's got some videos somewhere. I don't know.
Those would be interesting to dig up. But yeah, so we'll talk about your club stuff, and then we'll talk about kind of your time at university. But I guess so. You briefly touched on how you started playing. How was your kind of first? Like, how old were you when you first started playing club?
So I started playing when I was 9. I played 13U. So it was a pretty cool experience playing with older guys, but obviously I was way smaller, so I wasn't a starter back then. And then played all the way through like 9 or 10 years. My dad was always the coach, and then switched to Pac-Man in my last year.
Right. And what was your first kind of encounter with the club? Like, how first game against them?
I remember our first tournament, my first ever tournament. It was 13U, and we played against Pac-Man in the finals. And I think it was Nathan Murdoch was on that team.
Okay, gotcha.
And I don't exactly remember. Who knows? I know we were back and forth a lot that year, and we played them in the finals that year, Provincials, and they beat us. And then so that's my first time ever playing against Pac-Man.
Right. And you played a lot of provincial team growing up, right? Just from 15U to 18U, right? And then played a little bit of junior national team. But during your time on the provincial team, is that when you kind of started to get to know the Pac-Man guys a little bit better?
Yeah, I'd say so. But growing up, I remember, or like from 14U, the coaches were always super friendly to me, probably because my dad was the coach. So I don't even remember all the coaches' names. But they'd always come up to me and compliment me or just say how's it going. So it was always nice playing with those guys because most of the guys are pretty friendly.
Right.
But I started playing provincial team, and I started playing with some of the Pac-Man guys like Shawan and Parvier and whatever. And I'd say even before that, like Beach is where I really got to know those guys most because we'd always play against those two.
Yeah, you always play against them.
Yeah.
And looking at your 18U team, right? You and Tariq spent a lot of time playing beach together, right?
Yeah.
Did it make it a little bit more comfortable to make that transition, knowing that he was going to be there as well?
Yeah, I made it super easy because I already had him. We were really close, and because we'd always play against Parvin and Shawan, like I said, like we got to know them pretty well. And some of the other guys on the team, like Tom Sawyer, we played against a ton on the beach, and a couple of the other guys I played with on Team Ontario and stuff, like Jordan Pereira, Malcolm Prentice.
Right.
The transition was pretty easy for me.
Right. And I guess walking into the gym, right, going to tryouts your 18th year, it was obvious that your team was pretty stacked. How were you feeling kind of walking into the gym?
To the tryouts or to practice?
Yeah, to the tryouts.
The tryouts were weird. There was like so many people there. There was like, I don't know, 60, 80 players. And we only had one court.
Right.
I honestly barely played because I knew the coach, Orest. He was my coach for HBC, the year 2 before that. So
right.
like, he barely even let me play. He kind of put me aside and then gave me the offer right away.
Right. And so moving on, right, throughout your year, you guys, I think, lost HNU Grand Prix to Scarborough, the 17 Scarborough team. Did that help you guys maybe push you guys or fuel your guys going to provincials?
Yeah, it definitely fueled us. I know like sometimes like we won the first couple tournaments and maybe we let our foot off the gas a little bit, but it definitely helped us dial in and realize that we could be beat if we weren't gonna push it. So we really had to dial in for the last couple.
Right. And what was it like to win 18U provincials? Because obviously that's something that every team tries to strive for, right? What was it like to kind of get that milestone? Oh, lost you there for a second. You're back.
Yeah, I think I heard the question, but um,
So basically, what was it like to win 18U provincials, right? Because that's a big accomplishment, right? To be doing in volleyball in Ontario.
yeah, it was sweet. I mean, we went to a third set against Storm, and it was a really close game, but it was pretty sweet to be able to pull that out and for our OVA career on a win.
For sure. And would you say that was part of your favorite memory as a Pac-Man player?
Yeah, that's definitely up there. As well as when we went to Chicago too, we beat like the second ranked team in the U.S. in the semifinals of that tournament.
Right.
So that was a pretty cool experience too.
Right. And just kind of, I always get made fun of because everyone says I always bring up bad memories, but just to kind of talk about nationals a little bit. Is there any thoughts or comments that you had that you maybe thought about after the fact?
I mean, that game definitely stung a lot. I know, especially the guys who were there, like from 14U or 13U on, because that's definitely what they've been striving for. But even as an outsider coming in, like we all had the same goal, and losing in, especially in that fashion, like because we won the first set, second set we had a couple match points, and we had a block, and it just went out.
Yeah,
Like
it was just out.
we thought it all went in, but it was out, and yeah, and then they went on to come back and win the third set. So it stung deep, you know.
Right. And going into your 18U year, right, your team was compared a lot to the Crush team, right, with Stephen Marr, Danny Damianko, Andrew Coker, and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how did that feel, just being compared to a team that's accomplished so much?
I mean, it was a great compliment, but definitely added a lot of pressure to our team. But I think Aura did a pretty good job making sure we're all level-headed, and we just went out and competed.
Mm-hmm. And just recently, I've been having a lot of debates with people that have been on about the 2018 team versus the 2008 team, right? So the 2018 team would have had Cole, Xander, Saw, Jackson Bear,
Mm-hmm.
and then 2018 was Jesse's team with Terrell. Maybe give me a little argument as to why your team should be in the conversation.
Well, if you look at our team, how many A-team guys are our team versus their team?
Right. So there you go. So that's your argument there, correct?
Yeah.
And just looking at your time when you played on the junior national team, right? You had Dan Lewis as your coach as well as Jeff Chung, correct?
Dan Lewis was actually still playing when I was on the junior team, but Jeff Chung was.
Okay. So Jeff being one of the like a Pac-Man coach now, how was your experience with him as a coach?
I loved having Jeff. He was off the court. He was like really funny, and like even in drills and stuff, like he'd make some hilarious jokes. But when the time came to it, he was super serious, super intense. And I think as like we were a very young junior national team. Most of us were still in high school, so having Jeff around was good because he was like we definitely needed a little bit of pushing and focusing at times just because we were so young.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I guess we'll get into your resume here at Mac. So your first year, you guys were able to win an OUA championship, right, and win a national bronze medal, and you were named to the All Rookie First Team. Second year, you guys won OUA and then got a bronze at nationals. Third year, you guys got a silver medal at OUA, and then this fourth year, this past season, you guys were able to get a silver at OUA. A bronze, with nationals being canceled, and you won an award. I don't want to mispronounce the name here, so maybe you can.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. I think it's Dale Ivan Award or something. Dale Ivan.
Yeah. So with just quickly touching on that award, what was that award? What was the criteria for that?
So that award is kind of like there's like three criteria. It's like being a student, being an athlete, and the like volunteer, extra like community service stuff. So, yeah.
Right. And coming into your first year, right? Again, just going back to me asking about the Crush guys, right? You would have played with a decent amount of them, right, during your time at Mac. What was that like to kind of share the court with those guys?
I mean, it was unreal. Like when I was in grade like 9 or whatever, I used to watch those guys play, and I used to really look up to all those guys. So when I finally got to play with them, like it was a little intimidating at first, especially because they were all fifth years with like full grown beards, and I was just like a very first year.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I much from playing with all those guys and just trying to dig Danny in practice or Jay or like it was unreal experience.
Right. And I see we've got BK in here, right? Who I've been trying to get a hold of. So Brandon, if you're seeing this, can you check your DMs, please? But just looking at, because Mac has a lot of guys, or has quite a few guys, right, that have played at Pac-Man. Did you spend some time, I guess, with Calvin, maybe a little bit? Uh,
Calvin Lee.
yeah,
Yeah.
Calvin, BK, as well as Jorver, right, are the ones that come to the top of my head. What was it like to kind of play with those guys?
I mean, each one of them were really fun to play with. I mean, I've lived with like most of those guys or all of those guys, and I don't know. I guess just having that Pac-Man maybe grew us closer together. But I mean, when I got to Mac, I didn't really think of the alumni and what clubs people played on because
Right.
I mean, we kind of all start all on a new team anyway. But
For
yeah, it
sure.
was super cool. Like I know BK chat, we're good buddies now. Cool playing. And Calvin, Jorver, who else? Craig.
Yeah, Craig, Peter Rugosi,
Yeah,
right? Who was on your team this year?
yeah, Thomas.
Yeah, and so what was it like to get your kind of your first year right at Mac? I think you were, because you split time as a lib, and did you do defense or serve receive? I think it was
I did
defense. Right.
defense.
And just coming onto the court, right, being your first year and making kind of a major impact, like how did it feel to kind of win that OUA championship?
I mean, it was real first time. That was my first year, right? But and in that OUA champion
Oh, you cut out there.
at the Tech. Um,
Hmm.
oh, sorry. Yeah, I remember in the championship there, we were down like I don't know 5 points or so in the first set, and then we made a couple big plays, and then we came back, and then we ended up winning 3-0. So it was really cool experience, especially because the same year our women's team won, so we got to celebrate it all together, which was pretty cool.
No, for sure. And then you guys were able to go back to back, right?
Hmm.
What was that feeling like? Because again, right, Mac had a streak there for a bit to win, right? And so just to continue on that streak, how did that feel?
I mean, unreal. Like we worked so hard for those goals, right? So when you finally achieve them, it's a great feeling for sure.
No, for sure. And just looking back at nationals, right, your first year, you guys got was it a silver medal or you guys
Bronze.
got a bronze medal?
Yeah.
Just because back-to-back years, right, you guys got bronze medals. How did it feel, and what was maybe some changes that you guys felt like you needed to make just to kind of execute that semifinal win at nationals?
I mean, getting bronze is tough because obviously you lose the night before, so you think about it all night. Maybe it's tough to sleep, but as it always says, like the bronze medal is the most resilient game that you have to play.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
be able to rebound and then still perform at our highest is it's tough, but it's still super important because medaling is still a big accomplishment.
For sure. And just looking at this year's at nationals, right? Given things being canceled, how do you think things would have played out for you guys?
I mean, I'm a competitor. I'm sure everybody would say the same thing on all the other teams, but I believe we would win. I know we were going underdog, but yeah, everyone on our team believed we would win, just as I'm sure everyone on Trinity or Queens or Alberta or whoever, everyone's
Yeah.
going to win, of course.
No, for sure. And just looking at the bronze medal game you guys played this year, was there almost like a major sense of urgency just because that spot still competed for a spot at nationals?
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, we were all pretty heartbroken, but like we had a long meeting in the morning when we were watching film, and yeah, we all knew what the job was and what had to get done. So we just put our heads down, finished the game, and then we could think about the semifinals after that. But we had to just focus on the present and moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. And just looking, I kind of looked up stats, and one thing I saw that was like a kind of a common trend was that your defensive numbers are always really high. What's maybe your mindset and what's like maybe your focus on defense?
I just have no fear when I play defense, and I really think that I'm going to do everything. So, like, every time someone's going up to swing, I think, like, please hit the ball to me. Like, I want the ball, and if I see it, I just go get it.
Right. And looking at numbers, I think there was a game, your semifinals this year against Queens, you had 8 digs, right? And, like, having 8 digs in a game, first of all, isn't something easy to do, right? But then to also do it against a team like Queens. What was your mindset going into that game, given that you guys lost to them in the OUA finals the year before?
I just go out and compete. I mean, we're here, they're a new team. But, yeah, just play free, go out and compete, and just try to support all the boys, especially as a libero. I try to just support all of our players, our attackers, as much as I can.
For sure. And you just brought up support. Like as a lib, right? One thing I've noticed as well, playing the position, is you really have to support your left sides, right, and take pressure off them passing wise, right?
Yeah.
What's something that maybe you do specifically that helps your left sides?
Well, before every game, I always watch film on all the servers on the other team. So I just try to see, what their tendencies are, and then throughout the game, I always, just remember who's serving where, so I can try to shift guys around, or if they're just picking on one guy, start to pinch them out a bit more to record from them, and yeah, that's what I try to do as best as I can.
Right. And I can't remember if it was this year or last year. I was trying to look back, but I couldn't find anything. But you passed a perfect game against Waterloo. I can't remember what year, if it was this past season or the year before, but I believe it was 17 passes, correct?
I honestly can't really remember, but something.
It was something around that. But again, right, just asking, what was your mindset going into that game?
Well, Waterloo is always a tough gym to pass, and I remember in my first year, I got absolutely lit up from reception. So every time I went in there, like that was 2 years later, I guess.
Yeah, you're all good. I can still hear you.
Just okay, perfect. So yeah.
Oh, you cut out there. You're probably gonna have to repeat that. Yeah, it's better now. I can hear you now.
Okay, am I good now?
Oh, yeah, I think we're good now.
Okay, so yeah, like I got lit up in my first year in my zone. I was to attack the.
Right. And was that a game maybe just because you had a poor game against them your first year? Was that a game that you maybe spent a little bit more film time watching going into the game?
So no, I try to approach every game the same.
Right. And I guess my last 2 questions here for you. So you have, I think, 1 more year of eligibility at MAC, correct?
Correct.
So what would be some future goals for you?
Well, I definitely want to take volleyball. So my goal is to try to get on that 2024 Olympic team and go from there.
Right. And then just adding on to that, then I assume you want to play then overseas after your time at MAC, correct?
Yeah.
And just looking at your last year at MAC, what are some things that maybe you're looking to accomplish, just aside from medals, like maybe something you're trying to get out of your teammates or something?
Sorry, you're cutting out on me a little bit.
Okay. I was just saying, so aside from, because of course the goal, right, is to win provincials and nationals again, right, this year at MAC. But what's something aside from that that you're maybe looking at to get out of your teammates, or something for yourself personally?
I mean, as a team, like as an older guy, I want to really, lead these younger guys into the right direction, because our team, we have a lot of young, good, like a lot of first and second years that are pretty good. So
Right.
just trying to leave this
And I
program
guess the
better than I
last thing I
found
have
is
for
well,
you is
that's a
just
quote that
advice to
Dave
younger
always says,
athletes.
but
Jordan, can you hear me there? Yeah, can you hear me there?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the last thing I have for you is just advice to younger athletes.
All realistic. You just have to work for it. So like if you want to, you just have to grind and get there. And don't be afraid to take risks. If you want to play at a university, them yourselves, like make the first move. So just don't be afraid to take any risks, and you got to work for it.
For sure. Well, I think that's all I've got for you. Thank you for coming on. That was great. Hopefully we'll get to play against each other next year, given hopefully season's able to resume.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
Well,
yeah,
thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, for sure. We'll talk later. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Rather than an episode on Friday, we'll have one on Saturday with Daniel Deering.